Today we will discuss about the needs of soil quality management. Uh, so this is our third lecture. So initially we have talked about the course content, and then we discussed about some of the indicators. Now, if we see the needs of the soil management, so we can categorize into three parts. The first, that is to protect the environmental quality. Second, to sustain plant and animal productivity. And third one, that is to promote human health. Actually, these three major categories requires the proper soil management for sustainability. Uh, Coming to what today we'll discuss only about how to protect the environmental quality. So in environmental quality, we have again four components. The first thing, that is how to protect the ground and the surface water quality, because to sustain or to improve the quality of surface and groundwater, we need to manage the soil. Then we have also how to protect the quality of air, because air is directly relevant to soil, and soil has a very vital impact in the environmental quality or air quality. Then the third one, that is to resist the soil erosion. Basically, this is uh, to protect the soil quality and the soil, uh, what you say, the soil uh, existence. But today, or in this component, we will only talk about the soil erosion. Later on, we will discuss the other parts of the soil as well. And the fourth one, that is how to protect the biodiversity, because biodiversity protection requires soil quality management. If we are not managing the soil properly, we are disturbing the biodiversity. So coming toward the first part, if we look at the underground water, consumption of groundwater is increasing at twice the rate for the surface water. This trend is expected to continue as the demand for water increases in the future. Protecting the quality of existing and potential future groundwater supplies is therefore an issue of utmost importance. The soil plays a significant role in any groundwater protection strategy. So, as the population is increasing, the demand for water is increasing. The demand is only not for the direct human or animal consumption, but indirectly for food security, we need also water, as the surface water is limited in many regions and many areas. So, therefore, the underground water is being used for food production or for crop production as well. So um, mostly the soil which is above the water aquifers, so that determines the quality of the underground water, because underground water has impact uh, is directly impacted by the soil on its upside, and because the recharge of that aquifers is directly through that soil which is above the soil, above that water aquifers. If you look at here, so we have this water recharge, and the water passes through these soil layers and then come into the underground water. It means the water which is being recharged, so that is passing through that soil, and the quality of that soil will impact that underground water. And how that can affect, for example, if you have sandy soils, uh, or the upper layer of the soil, which is clay, has been removed, it means the all the wastewater which you have on the above surface will directly contaminate the underground water. So therefore, the above ground, above water soil layer is directly relevant to affect the quality of underground water. So it means to maintain or to improve the quality of soil above the water aquifer is required to save the underground water. So this is why we need to manage the soil to protect the underground water. So then both the quantity and quality of groundwater depend on the water that moves down through the soil to the saturated zone. This percolating water called recharge passes through the root zone and unsaturated zone until it reaches to the water table. So we have some unsaturated zone, and we have also some saturated zone. Even the water which is given, for example, in this figure, it is mentioned that some contaminants. So they are on the above surface, but along with water, so they are moving toward the underground water. So it means the soil which from which these contaminants they are moving, so that it is responsible for the protection of underground water. So how these soil affect the water underground water quality? So basically, there are three major things. So one, the depth of the water. It means how much soil volume is above the water aquifers. So if you have for example, 100 feet or 100 meter or 50 meter deep water aquifer, so it means you have 50 meter soil volume from which the water will pass and will go or will be incorporated in the water aquifer. So if you have this very shallow uh, aquifer, so it means the above water above soil volume, so that is very less. So that's why the water movement through that column or that soil will not be sufficient perhaps to eliminate all the contaminants. But if you have a very huge volume of soil above the water aquifer, it means water will move through that soil volume, and ultimately most of the contaminants uh, will be absorbed at the soil surface, and the clean water will be incorporated in the water aquifers. What is the second thing? That is soil texture. If you have a very big volume, but the texture of that soil is sandy, it means the water is moving through that sand is not being filtered, because the clay content, so they have basically the ability to filter the different contaminants, especially the heavy metals and other organic contaminants. So it means soil texture of that above water aquifer soil is also critical. Then we have also organic matter content, because the organic matter in the soil, so they have also a great ability to absorb contaminants and to save the underground water. So these are three major things. If we think that we can manage these three things, for example, the first thing, the depth of water, we cannot change that. But of course, we can protect the upper layer. For example, we have upper clay layer and that is eroded. So it means below that there will be more sandy soil, and the contaminants will easily pass through that sand and will be incorporated into the underground water. But if you can manage that upper layer, and if you can protect that upper layer, so it means the water movement will be through that layer, and that layer will absorb most of the contaminants. Similarly, the organic matter, we can manage it. Soil texture, of course, we cannot say, but we can manage the soil texture. But organic matter, of course, we can increase or decrease that. So if we look at the texture, so this figure shows that how the contaminants move. Of course, the nature of contaminants is also important, but the the soil texture is much important to understand that how the contaminants will move. So here we have mentioned three types of soil: sand, sandy loam, and silty clay loam. If you look at the sand, the pollutants, they are going in the greater depths. Although three different pollutant like betylate and alachlor and metachlor, so they have different behavior. But if you compare with the other textures, sandy loam, you can see that the movement or the percolation of these contaminants is more deeper in sandy soil as compared to sandy loam soil. And even in sandy loam, these are deeper than the silty clay loam soil, because the clay is basically the main component which can absorb the contaminants. More the clay, more the ability of the soil to absorb these pollutant and to save the underground water. So just for understanding, if somebody is not belongs to soil science, so this is basically the texture. If you see, we have the sand, sandy loam, and silt clay loam. Sand, of course, we have 90 to 100% sand. And then we have this sandy loam. If you look at the sandy loam, we have 50 to 70% sand. And we have also almost 20% or 12 to 20% clay content as well. And we have also 20 to 30% silt content. So you can observe from here, these three sides, one is presenting clay, silt, and sand. But if you have a silty clay loam is basically is here. So you can see here that it has more than 30%, 30 to 40% clay. It has about 60% to 70% silt, and only 20% sand is there. So it means it has very less amount of sand. So that's why the what you say, the movement of the pollutant is lesser, because we have clay content, more silt content, and less sand content. So of course, characteristics of pollutant is also important. If we talk about the nitrate versus ammonium, we can understand that ammonium has a positive charge and it can absorb on the soil particle very easily. So the underground movement will be lesser as compared to that of nitrate, because the nitrate has a negative charge and it has a limited ability to absorb on the exchange side. So then in pesticides, if the pollutants, they are more volatile, easily degradable, they have less solubility, and the absorption capacity on the soil particles. So all four determines that how much or how many in these pollutants will be contaminating the underground water. For example, if we have volatile contaminant, so that will pollute the atmosphere, but the movement towards the water will be lesser. If we have a pollutant which is easily degradable, it means the contamination toward water will be lesser. If we see that there is a pollutant which is not water soluble, or which is not easily water soluble, so it means the movement of that pollutant towards the underground water will also be lesser. If some pollutants they have charges, as I mentioned in the case of ammonium, so if they have some kind of charges like positive charge and they can absorb on the soil particles, so their movement will also be lesser. So it means the characteristics of pollutants, so they are also important. Now coming toward the second part, that is to protect the air quality. So we understand easily that the soil trap carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So it means the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere is managed by the soil. Release of O2 in the atmosphere. So because the soil has a system where the plants grow and then they release oxygen to the atmosphere. Then the degradation of hazardous material. So there are many hazardous material which can be volatilized toward the soil, toward the air. So that can be degraded in the soil. Deposition of acidic gases with the rainwater, there are many acidic gases which can be conserved in the soil. Decomposition of waste material, because uh, if the soil quality basically that alters the way of decomposition. So there are some ways where there are more gases are released, and there are the ways where there are less gases released. So it may be related to aerobic and anaerobic conditions as well. And then of course particulate material. So the particulate material is directly relevant to the soil, because if your soil is well conserved, so the particulate material in the atmosphere will be lesser. So these are six major contributions which a soil can do to protect the soil quality. So coming towards the detail, the cycling of three major greenhouse gases, if you look at the carbon dioxide, methane, the nitrous oxide, so they are directly relevant to soil. For example, for a carbon dioxide ability to store organic matter in the soil. If the soil, they have ability to store more organic matter in the soil, so it means less decomposition and less release of carbon dioxide. Then microorganisms in poorly aerated soil, they release CH4. If your soils are of good quality and they have proper aeration, it means the release of CH4 will be restricted. Then the denitrification, which occurs also mostly under anaerobic condition, so where the nitrous oxide is released. So it means the soil quality basically, so that manage the three major greenhouse gases. So this is one example of rice field where we create anaerobic conditions. So the plants, they take oxygen and they release CH4, methane from that side. So the CH4 is also released from the plant and also from the neighboring soil where you have anaerobic condition. So under anaerobic condition, methane is released from the rice field. So CH4 is produced by anaerobic degradation of organic matter that occurs in soil and also in roots. CH4 oxidation by methanotrophic bacteria, and then anaerobic CH4 oxidation and net methane emission. So this is basically the process how it works to release methane into the atmosphere. So here comes the nitrous oxide. So again, the soil has very significant role in it. So there is a denitrification process, so which occurs under anaerobic conditions, and nitrous oxide is released into the atmosphere. And this can be directly nitrous oxide into the atmosphere, or that can be further converted to N2. And N2 is then again going for NH4 by this chemical fixation or by biological fixation, and then that ammonia can again can be volatilized to the atmosphere. So this is kind of a cycle uh, which basically determines that how much nitrous oxide will be released into the atmosphere. So biochar is also a one innovation or discovery, you can say, that it can hold carbon in the soil for a longer period of time. It means the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere can even be reduced by using such technology that which can retain soil, which can retain carbon dioxide in the soil for a longer period of time. And then we have the next that to avoid the soil erosion. We know the soil erosion is basically the removal of soil particles from the soil layer. And if your soil is not strong, there are detachment with the help of water as well as with the help of air, and then these are transported from that place to and deposit another place. Although the depositing side will be again can be used for agriculture purpose or for other purpose, but still there is a loss from where the detachment of soil particle occurs. So wind erosion and water erosion, how the soil can resist good water content. If the soil can maintain good water content, it reduce the wind erosion. Stability of dry soil aggregates is better. If it's better, of course, then there will be less wind erosion. Stability of soil crust, how the soil crust is stable. If that is much stable, so it means it will not be affected by wind. And then if the surface is smooth, so that smooth surface will also reduce the wind erosion. So if the soil has vegetation, of course, that will also have less wind erosion as compared to the other side. So if you look at the water erosion, high water infiltration capability, if the soil can absorb more water, so it means there will be less erosion. Then high organic matter can hold more water and there will be less erosion. Then stabilizing soil structure. If your soil structure is more stable, it means the water can not remove or eliminate the soil surface very easily. And then, of course, if you manage the soils with the contour and strip cropping, so that will also reduce the water erosion. The last part, that is the biodiversity. What is the biodiversity basically? If you look at the soil biodiversity, so basically, so there are a lot of animals and the microbes, small animals and microbes and insects which are living in that soil. So it means if your soil is not well managed, the life of these uh, these creation or creatures, so that is in danger. For example, if your soil is becoming compact, is facing low organic matter, uh, no low organic matter accumulation in the soil, because most of these uh, microbes, they are dependent on the organic matter. So if your soil has less organic matter, it means you are disturbing the biodiversity of that soil. So it means again then the waterlogging condition, then the salinity. So we can understand from these mechanisms that soil acidification. So it also affects the microbial population in the soil. Then the soil structure declining if the soil is becoming compact and less porosity. So it means the aeration is less. It means the aerobic what you say the microbes, so they will lose their lives and the biodiversity will be affected. If your soil is contaminated with sodium, of course, only the sodium resistant can survive there, but the all other microbes will be disturbed. Then uh, soil salinization, salinity. So that also affect the microbial and soil biodiversity. And the most of the biodiversity is on the upper layer of the soil. If your upper layer is removed with the soil erosion, because that has more organic matter and more microbes. So if your upper soil is removed with the erosion, so it means the biodiversity has been affected. But if your soil is well managed and you are avoiding the soil erosion, so it means that will also protect the what to say the biodiversity. So that was all about today, and we will talk about the next two, that is about relevant about the rearing of animals and plants and then the human health. So in the next lecture we will talk about those. Thank you very much.